The internet is a vast universe of its own, connecting all of humanity. So much information and entertainment at the click of a button. Creators all over the world posting endless works of art in hopes of gaining recognition. Some are stumbled upon by mere accident. Some go unnoticed forever. Then there are those who gain recognition by how utterly disturbing or cryptic their art projects are and make videos based off famous horror or murder stories from the internet. Please do not ignore this story and write it off as some lame-ass wannabe writer spinning you a tale. Back in high school, me and a group of friends used to get together, after school and on the weekends, to surf the web in search of amateur art gems, as we called them. Hours and hours of videos and stories scattered among the tabs of our laptops. We were really into horror stories and things of a cryptic nature, seeing if we could solve the mysteries behind them. We always had our theories and thought of ourselves as pretty aware of what the artist was trying to get across. There were 4 of us: me, Danny, Josh, Seth, and Michael. It was late May 2016. We had just finished out our SR year of high school. Finally, it was over after all these years. I was on my way out of the school doors when Michael caught up to me and asked if I had any plans. No, I replied. He asked if I wanted to go to his house and check out a website he had stumbled upon. Dude, I found a website where amateur artists post their art projects, and bro, it is amazing. I could tell that he was excited about it, and seeing how I considered our group art connoisseurs of sorts, I agreed. We stopped at my house on the way so I could get my laptop, then proceeded to Mike's house, calling Seth and Josh to meet us there. Once at Mike's, we headed to his basement and began our journey into the newly found website. We were engrossed in this new world. Video after video, story after story. Before we knew it was 3 a.m. and none of us could head home, so we just stayed there that night. Our next session was only a couple of days later. Seth had called us up and we once again met at Mike's. Once we were all there, Seth explained that he had found a user on the website who posted regularly and had very interesting content. The user went by the name exa_real_creepxx. I remember thinking about how it was a clever play on the word real as in existing and real as in video. His videos were pretty popular for the website, each with around 500k views. He was also very social from what we could tell, almost always replying to every comment on all of his videos, which was another draw-in for us automatically. The videos were projects with twisted takes based on creepypastas, some of the not so well-known ARGs, and other stories of horror, murder, and the paranormal from the web. Josh was the first to notice this fact and pointed it out after about the 3rd video. All of the projects were well made for the most part and anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes long. He was very creative, doing animated videos as well as creepy music and non-animated videos. Creep, as I will now refer to him, always kept himself concealed in some form in his videos when they weren't animated. Sometimes it was a mask and hood or other costume, and other times it would be too dark to notice any distinctive features he may have had. This just added to our fascination and curiosity of this user and his projects. We only had 2 more sessions that first week, while promising only to watch with each other to avoid spoiling videos. I unfortunately didn't keep that promise, but refrained from spoiling any of the videos for my friends. I watched a couple based on creepypastas that I will not go into detail on, and one that stood out to me. This particular story wasn't a pasta, it happened to be a murder story from the internet way back in the day about a girl who was abducted and buried alive. The cops searched for the girl but never found her. This wasn't a well-known story, but Josh had actually ran into it a couple of years back and showed us during one of our sessions. I recognized it right away. The video started out in a dimly lit basement or cellar of sorts. A girl or young woman can be heard crying and pleading for Jason to please stop. Then another video pops up in the corner like another camera is showing simultaneously, and it's inside of a casket with the girl. Creep proceeds to bury her alive, then the video ends. The video was a bit unsettling but not too shocking or crazy for an amateur project. Plus he had female characters in videos quite often who you also didn't see, so the feeling didn't last very long. The next week during a session, Mike suggested that we comment on one of Creep's videos. I believe this was a good idea since it seems that he normally replies to the comments on his videos. Having already created accounts, we proceeded to send him comments on how much we enjoyed his videos and how we were a group of friends and would like to chat with him sometime. He answered each of us back within 10 minutes and each response was authentic. He also sent us a link to a chat room. We all typed back and forth asking him questions as he would answer back with very entertaining responses. This went on for about an hour, and toward the end of the chat session, Creep said he had to go and we thanked him for his time. He ended the chat asking what is art? And then left. It struck us as odd, but we quickly casted it aside. Within the next few weeks we chatted with Creep only one other time. He told us that he was 36 and his name was Jeremy Pritter. He explained growing up he wanted to be in the film industry, particularly the horror genre. He had started college at Cal Arts after graduating school but shortly quit after receiving criticism from teachers and other students. He had struggled creating anything for a few years until he found this website. It was such a sad story that I still remember how bad I felt when I first heard it. We all told him how we were glad he was doing what he loved again and assured him we thought he was a very unique and talented artist. He replied with art is beauty and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We chatted with him a few more times that summer but nothing of grave importance. We continued watching the videos he would post regularly and go back and watch videos that he had uploaded in the past. He had been on the site since 2012 and this was 2016, so there was plenty of content to watch between new uploads. On Christmas Eve there was a poll on the channel that asked us to vote on the next video he would be making. The choices were two stories from the internet about murder. One was of a girl who had went on vacation and met this guy who explained that he recently had gotten a divorce and was out trying to mingle. She got to Trusty and he ended up drowning her in the ocean and took off with everything she owned. The other was of a girl who had went with a couple of her friends to a cabin for a week. While their mysterious things kept happening to the girls before they ended up going missing, never to be seen again. Of course the second video won the polls and Christmas Day the video was up. It was very disturbing, as was the previous murder story video I had seen. It was dark and in the woods with who we assume is Creep sneaking around. There's a light snow on the ground and he ends up at this cabin. He starts peeking through the windows and of course there are 3 girls in the cabin, but you can't really make out what they look like because the ice and fog on the window. He ends up setting the camera down outside of the door, grabs an axe and proceeds to break in. Once in, you can once again hear the screams of women, then only 2 of the women are screaming but louder as Creep is grunting loudly as if he is swinging the axe around with major force. It then cuts to the man picking up the camera as what you can see to be blood drops are in the snow as he proceeds to chase down the last girl. The other girl was killed during the cut, we guess it's not clear. He then catches the last girl, never revealing her face, then all we hear is one last scream, then Merry Christmas on the screen. We were all a little uncomfortable after seeing it, but that's what this guy's videos were supposed to do, so we brushed it off. A couple days later he announced he'd be having a surprise giveaway for one lucky contestant. All you had to do was comment your name and come up with a clever video theme. The most creative theme would win, and he'd private message the winner for shipping details. The 4 of us were so psyched. We knew that we'd have a good shot at winning if we all pitched and came up with 4 amazing ideas. We worked for hours until right up to the deadline and turned them in. A few hours later Seth received a private message saying he had won the giveaway and asked for his address, that it would be there on the day after New Year's. Knowing he would be out of town with his family on that day, we decided to use my address instead. The day after New Year's finally arrived. I had been waiting forever for that day to come. The package arrived around 4 p.m. Eastern Time. As the doorbell rang, I felt an overwhelming excitement rush through my body. I signed for the package, noticing that something was a bit off about the delivery guy. He wasn't dressed in any logos and he had sunglasses on even though it was cloudy and 30 degrees outside. But I chalked this up to him protecting his eyes from wind burn. I mean, the rest of his face was covered up also, so why not his eyes? I wanted to open the package, but I waited until the 4 of us were able to get back together and do the grand reveal. Once settled and ready to open the package, Mike asked if he could do the honors. We all graciously agreed. Mike carefully tore open the package, making sure not to damage any of the contents. He stuck his hand in to pull out something wrapped in a piece of cloth and leather. The cloth was very tattered and the leather was very odd. He then unwrapped the object inside, being the first to get a glance. A look of shock, horror, and disgust came over his face. It was a human jawbone with some teeth intact. We couldn't believe it. Once we finally got our thoughts together, Seth went and called the cops and reported the whole incident. When the cops arrived and were questioning us, I remembered the other murder videos and suggested the cops check those out. They eventually brought in the FBI, who searched the videos and noticed pitch differences in the screams of the victims. This and the fact that DNA from the jawbone matched a missing person in Oregon sparked the FBI to find the IP and track the location of the poster. The videos were all uploaded from a quiet location in California. Upon investigating the location, a house of horrors was uncovered. Over 32 bodies found buried upon the property, even the girl in the casket and the 3 girls in the cabin, plus many more he didn't make videos of. The ages ranged from children to adults mid-40s. Just to think, a sociopath who got away with countless murders and posted for the world to see. What did we do? Every one of the hundreds of thousands who watched his murder spree wrote it off as an art project. How many others have got away with these kind of crimes? These were all questions that have faded since the events of that day. The cops never found the man who copied internet horror stories in real life. One of the few who may actually be like Jack the Ripper or the Zodiac, who are never truly found guilty of their crimes. Please never be like the countless people who witness this tragedy unfold and mistake murders for a simple art project.